Yes, over the course of the holidays.
Kirby, is anyone from the US going to go to the Astana? I mean, no, you haven't. He might not have been invited, or.
I am aware of no U.S. participation in those discussions.
So, and then de Mistura said, or the UN said today, that they were going to go ahead with the February meeting in Geneva. What about those meetings?
Well, they we haven't been a party to them. Those are UN-led, UN-brokered discussions between the opposition and the regime. I think in the past we have had somebody go as an observer, Special Envoy Ratney, for instance. I don't know whether that will be the case in February. We can try to get an answer for you. I would expect that, as in the past, we would have at least somebody there sort of at a distance and observing, but not participating. The whole purpose of those talks is to have the opposition and the regime both fairly represented, both involved in some sort of level of dialogue. The farthest they've been able to get was what we call proximity talks, where they're not actually in the same room, but discussions being brokered by Special Envoy de Mistura. I don't know what the format in February is going to look like. That's really for him to speak to. But I certainly couldn't rule out that there would be some U.S. Attendance as an observer only, not to be participating. That's never been the design.
And then, as these three countries get together, Turkey, Iran, and Russia, to discuss what's going on in Syria and maybe the end product of it, which could be a transition from Assad, or maybe he stays. Does the U.S., I think, goes back to what Matt's saying, does the U.S. not feel uncomfortable that these discussions and decisions are being made about a country where you have an influence? I mean, and you have, you've got planes flying, airstrikes going on. I mean, is there not, I mean, how do you're not part of those discussions? Is there not some kind of...
Well, first of all, the military efforts in Syria are Daesh related, not related to the civil war. And the discussions that happen in Astana or elsewhere without our participation have no impact on the coalition efforts to counter Daesh inside Syria. Those are not connected in that way. But look, of course we're concerned by the discussions. Of course we are interested in whatever outcomes. And that is why, as the Secretary said, he's going to stay in touch with his Turkish and Russian counterparts going forward here. Has and will continue to, at least for as long as he's in office, about whatever outcomes and results and whatever comes out of these meetings. He will certainly stay in touch on that. We are interested in that, and we do have concerns about whatever those outcomes are. That said, Leslie, we continue to stand solidly behind a UN-led process here, which is enshrined in our UN Security Council resolution, which codified itself the ISSG process. And that is still the operative process. And that is what we will continue to support. And so, as the Secretary said yesterday, if they want to meet in Astana, that's perfectly within their right to do it. And if that discussion in Astana can lead us to a quicker result or more progress in Geneva under UN auspices, well, that's all to the good as well. It's not like, while we aren't connected to this piece of it, it's not like we're pulling out from the whole puzzle.
Yes, but then what do you do if they agree that Assad should stay?
Our policy on Assad has not changed, and I don't expect that it will change for as long as this administration is in office, that we continue to believe he cannot be part of the long-term future of Syria. As I have said for many, many months, his role in a transition will be determined, should be determined by those political talks. We want the Syrians to decide that. That's the way it's been set up. Our view, what we want to see as the end result, has not changed. But ultimately, the discussion of how and what his role is in the transition is going to be, should be the byproduct, not just the byproduct, the product of those political talks.
Let me just